everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Ideally, though.
Ideally, though.
I'm your host, Erica, and with me is my hubby, my bestie, my Butterbeer squad.
Yeah. What up?
This week, we are celebrating our 2-year pod anniversary and
Yes.
our 1-year YouTube
Yeah.
anniversary. So it all came
Yeah. Full
around the same time.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling about like the whole podcast being 2 years old?
It went by so fast. I learned a lot. I'm learning still a lot.
Yeah.
So many trials and tribulations and getting frustrated and getting excited about things and
Yeah.
just trying to keep up in the ante every time we start a new season.
I mean, we're clearly a little more different than usual, so this
Yeah,
is great. This is another step up. So
working on YouTube,
yeah.
kind of having that be now my focus is just trying to figure out algorithms and making sure I'm consistent with
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not skipping on the audio. Clearly, it sounds different as well from what we used to have. You know what I mean? Even more so with like the new microphones we're getting and stuff. It's a lot of stuff that we've taken pride and noticed our own selves
Yeah.
even more than like the audience actually telling us about some stuff. It's been nice to like recognize some of our like mistakes and things and be like, oh, we can do better here, and like immediately find a solution to that problem.
Yeah, like my biggest critic. So I'm
Yeah.
always like, oh, I don't like that. What do I need to do to get better?
Hmm.
Hide under the covers, get frustrated, get mad, cry. Oh, I don't want to put this out, but I gotta put it out.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna continue to just
Yeah,
be my great self.
it's a bit of a bump your head type of situation, but as long as you keep getting back up, that's the thing that matters, you know?
Yeah, they don't really have. It's no crazy instructions about being a podcaster.
No,
You
no,
watch it on YouTube, you listen to it for however long, you have been, and then you're like, you try to imitate it and
yeah,
make it your own. So
absolutely.
I think we're just trying to make our own, and hopefully one day, there's people who starting and they're like, I like their ideas, so I want to try to.
Yeah.
They're kind of who I want to follow a little bit,
Uh-huh. I mean, we've been seeing some growth lately,
Yeah,
so that's also awesome for like a 2 year anniversary thing.
yeah. We're just really trying to focus on getting our growth with YouTube.
Yeah, and
Audio. I think everybody who listens audio wise because
for
that
sure.
has not stopped. Now it's just growing with visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited. I'm proud of us for hitting our 2 years and not stopping,
Yeah.
and hitting our year in YouTube, even though that can be a struggle. YouTube is a
Yeah.
different beast on its own.
Yeah.
So
And with YouTube, doing YouTube, there's been a lot, like you said, we've learned, but granted that we are learning and we have been getting better. Shouts out to the ones who have been new subscribers and things of that nature. We appreciate y'all for sure.
yeah, catch us on YouTube at
Yeah.
Ideally Though Pod.
Yeah.
Like, same Kiss logo,
Yeah.
everything. But I'm grateful for it. I'm super excited to see what the next year brings, and I take everything really month by month, and then
Yeah.
year by year,
Yeah.
season by season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we're at, I think, a little over 3,500 listeners audio wise.
That is
So
insane.
it's good for. I take all the small wins. I'm never like, oh, it's only 30. No, I don't know what other people started off with, how far they got,
Yeah.
how long it took them to get to that. I'm only running my own race,
Yeah.
and if I get mad, I'm mad because I feel like I should have did something more. I should have, you know.
There's no way in hell that I know 3,500 people.
I don't
So.
know. No, I don't know. I don't know people in Belgium and in most people in the U.S. I don't really know. I stay to myself. So 35 people fuck with us. 3,500 people fuck with us. Like,
Yeah.
I'm totally always grateful for those people.
Yeah. It's been a ride, and I'm grateful to have been alongside you in it. This has been fun, and
Yeah,
thank y'all for listening and watching. For real,
yeah,
thank y'all for
crazy.
listening and watching.
There's been so much going on for the last couple weeks we haven't talked about. We kind of put off with the whole Diddy thing.
Yes.
We know that Diddy has been taken into custody, and they did raid his LA home, I believe, and his New York home, and then they found those 1,000 bottles of lubrication and baby oil.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. I
Yeah.
mean, that sounds about for a freak off. I didn't see some crazy corn. I didn't see some, so I didn't see some stuff with some baby oil. I heard a couple of days ago that the lawyers say, well, he buys them in bulk because he lives near a Costco, and then the Costco said,
Oh.
"We ain't never sold him no damn baby oil."
Excuse me, we don't have an account of that.
Yeah,
No,
we don't
we
have
have
that
an account
count.
for every member, sir.
Right. But I don't know how that's surprising to people. Like that sounds about right.
Yeah, this federal indictment coming out and being like unsealed has been pretty wild. All the circumstances, the lube, the ARs, I think they were the guns that were actually had scratched serial numbers on it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Like it's not technically surprising. I think we've been aware that Diddy has had like that type of erratic behavior since he threw that chair at that one girl on making the band, because that was like recorded back in the day when making the band was on TV.
Man, I love making the band.
There was, I forgot who it was. I know the clip is somewhere, but uh he threw a chair at one of the members and they had cut the cameras on the MTV and it wasn't supposed to make it out, but it did.
Yeah.
It did, and she ended up leaving the band. I can't remember which member, but I feel like around that time everybody had like some suspicions about Diddy as a whole. And then you have the club shooting stuff, and he just kind of kept racking up shit. And immediately after the whole, Biggie situation, it makes his entire history just give more. It gives more credence to it. You know what I
People
mean?
like him, people like R. Kelly, people like Epstein and Weinstein, those people can't help but to try to get caught. I think we kind of noticed. I think we noticed his behavior when he started wanting to be on camera more. When he got his deal with MTV, and I want to see the life, see my life, see me making bands. When I saw Farnsworth Bentley, I was like, yeah, this fool abuses his employees. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I felt.
Yeah, I think every single time he was on screen, like it makes looking at the Dave Chappelle jokes
Yeah.
even more creepily in a
It's
way.
always been like
It's
that.
always been like
And when you
this.
have a certain amount of power, then you start getting paranoid. And we find out that you have a whole bunch of cameras and you've been blackmailing
Mm-hmm.
people. My personal opinion is that those people were able to get from underneath your thumb,
Yeah.
and then stuff started coming out.
I
I
think so
think
too.
that's what happened.
See, so last, I think it might have been last year or the year prior. Excuse me for if I don't get this information correct, but there was a law that was passed in New York that gave statute of limitations, like it didn't matter at all,
Hmm.
and they had 1 year in order to file a suit for something, and it was only 1 year. It was like from that November to like the next November,
Mm.
and this is what comes of that law, in all honesty. And I think it was a good idea because we're seeing all these people come and get indicted in different ways.
Yeah.
All these different people get indicted in different ways. It's been some crazy stuff in that in indictment. I think the levels of trafficking they were talking about.
Yeah,
And
it's the sex trafficking,
hmm
it's the racketeering.
yes, he's got hit with the RICO
No
charge.
one cares about these freak offs. You're a grown man. If people are consenting, I think we can stay away from that part.
Right.
The party and all that, but then when you start talking about sex trafficking, drugging, women,
Beating.
men, yeah, abusing, okay, that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
That's the stuff, and it tends to get overshadowed because of the whole 1,000 bottles
Yeah,
of
I'm like,
baby oil thing.
we know that's gonna come with
Hmm.
sexuals and good sexuals and bad sexuals. He and I know when he was in front of the judge, he said, if you give me bail, then I won't have any women like visitors. And I'm like, listen, I don't think that judge was born last night. It ain't just the women. We don't want you to have no visitors. We know
Facts.
that you're fluid.
Facts.
So it don't matter about no girls. We don't
Yeah.
want no men. We don't want nobody around you.
Hmm.
How do you
Hmm.
feel about being a son to someone who is that they're saying that could be a predator,
Right.
an
Yeah.
abuser? What do you think? Like, would you hold down your dad if you,
No.
or do you
But
think
they're
they
going
know?
to. Did you hear about? I think it was King Combs that made the diss record to the FBI and everybody.
Yeah, but a part of me feels like they know things. Like,
They do.
so
And that's what they're doing
this
with it. Like I
sick.
said, with the disc record, they're doing it. I would. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
I'll stay
uh,
away from that.
there was a disc record that I think it was King Combs that did a disc record to the FBI and the CIA and everybody who's been making memes and jokes about the situation. It is a thing. I'm not making that up.
Mm.
So they. It seems like that pride in that family kind of runs true and through. Um, And look, I'm saying it on my own accord. It's not like I've been swayed by that whole memoir of Miss Kim Porter's that came out,
Hmm.
right? But I think Diddy could have had something to do with that in a way too.
We kind of talked about that before, and I definitely feel that way too.
Yeah.
It was surprising because I always felt like Quincy was someone who kind of stayed away from it a little bit.
Hmm.
But then when he got on Instagram and was like, "My mom never had any memoirs, and whoever's saying it's her friend is not her friend,"
Yeah.
and let's hold her, platform and her memory to a high regard. I
Yeah.
get that.
Mhm.
Um, it's just like you don't feel any type of way that
Yeah.
maybe
He could maybe have. There's some nastiness
something to
there.
do with it. But when your dad is your hero, probably
Yeah,
you don't want to.
that's fair.
And then if Albie Shore wasn't really there for you,
Yes.
or if Diddy had a little bit more influence and was in your ear a little bit more about your biological dad, then you don't really want to hear anything.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just
Even.
try to keep them kids covered.
Hmm.
Um, but I think we're gonna hear more, and I think they might be pulled into it. Just
Yeah,
how I
I
feel.
think I think so too. And the reason why I say that is because I even saw Albie make a comment on his Instagram thing or whatever. It came through on a Reddit, and he was saying that like I told y'all I haven't been lying for this long.
But you know what happens when he said that? I was like, how does Quincy feel? And then he comes out with his Instagram post, and I was like, so are you guys not seeing eye to eye?
They
And
haven't seen eye to eye for a while.
I felt that way. I don't know if you felt like maybe Albie is a deadbeat or something. I
Hmm.
feel like Diddy's influence is plays a big part in that as
He
well.
said that that did he put him in the coma, and this is and
Mm,
all these other things. He said that that there should be an investigation deeper into the other
yeah,
people he's been attached to. And speaking of people he's been attached to, I think these are the ones that are the most interesting. Are the people who are going to be subpoenaed who had been around the entire situation, whatever this criminal organization RICO thing is, right?
yeah,
The security that's going to get pulled up to get subpoenaed, any of the other sex workers that actually do get subpoenaed, hotel workers, because shortly after Cassie's suit, the video drops,
yeah.
right? Like they had the video at some point, then and somebody archived it somewhere.
I heard that I think it was Meek Mills that he's paying a private investigator
Hmm.
to see why his name is in
Hmm.
paperwork.
And if his name is in it too,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because people are still making jokes about the audio. Remember, we talked about it
yeah.
on one of the podcasts, and the audio that came out that supposedly is him and Diddy. So, he's if he's hunting too. I mean, I imagine there is a level of they have to keep that quiet in a way because there are other people who either a willingly participated or were under the influence and participated.
There, I feel like I'm gonna get surprised a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
I've been trying to stay away from it this week because it's just
Mhm.
been so much. I'm like, oh, you guys are making my stomach hurt.
Him saying
So
he's not eating and things of that
yeah,
nature.
and I can maybe see that either being because you feel like you could be poisoned because of the whole was it Weinstein or
The
Epstein
Epstein thing.
Epstein thing,
Yeah. Uh huh.
um, or maybe the conditions of the jail.
Yeah.
I know R. Kelly said something about that too, and now he's going on record to say, yeah, I don't believe anything. They're trying to hunt us. Shut up, just shut
I
up.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he just said that yesterday. I'm like, shut up, R. Kelly.
That's
Like,
wild.
go make your free concerts in jail and stay away from this because he's going a little deeper than you.
I just
Okay,
caught the free concert thing. That's fucked
I'm
up.
just saying. Diddy's things run deeper than R. Kelly's. He has way more money to do
Yeah,
way more bad stuff.
absolutely.
So you might want to just stay where you are before we tangle your ass in some of them freak offs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. This whole thing is going to be surprising as hell as it unfolds. As this
Absolutely.
thing unfolds, it's going to be a wild ride. I
Yeah.
know it for a fact. Yeah.
Absolutely. About a year ago, I had saw a picture of Bay, Michael B. Jordan,
Oh god.
dressed in this cute little old timey suit, and I was like, oh man, he's making another movie, right? And I heard it was a Ryan Coogler, and I was like, them working together is bomb. So this is like their fifth project working together,
Yeah.
and the trailer and the name of the movie dropped a couple days ago, so we know it is as Sinners.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Oh yeah.
vampires, their take on vampires, black vampires.
Your
And we're
take?
gonna get that March 7th
You
in
are
IMAX
excited,
studios.
clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I already heard it's supposed to be vampire movie. Their take. It looks like it's like late 1800s, early
Yeah, it's like
1900s.
1920s. I'm feeling, you
It
know what I mean? A
might be
little bit, kind of. It's
maybe
like prohibition time
because what I
feeling.
can see is that when he was pulling out a gun, it looked like you could see
Tommy joint.
war stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is this Civil
Something
War
like
or
that.
World War I?
It's it's yeah. It does look interesting. Just to, like, and you know what? They did the trailer right. And I've
Hmm.
said this to you when we did when I did. You sent it to me, and I was like responding with this. I said that this is how you do a trailer because it gave me just enough and didn't tell me anything. But it gave me just enough, but didn't tell me anything. That
Yeah.
makes sense
Hmm.
because we've seen too many trailers as of late for all these different movies that have some type of suspense that could be really, really good at the end of the day, but they give the entire movie.
Yeah, they've been doing that wrong for a
Mm-hmm.
while now, and I hate
Mm-hmm.
to. So when I saw, it, I was like, oh, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
I could tell either it's a battle with himself or a battle with um vampires he's seen in war or something like that. It looks like he hugs himself, but that could be his twin brother, or he's having a psychotic break. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be fire as
I have
hell.
all these different like what the fucks in my head because
Hmm.
nothing was answered, but it was enough to make me go, "Oh yeah, I want to take a look at that. I want to check it out."
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to see it a couple times. I like to, I like to support Bay. So it is what it is. I live a polygamous life, and he's okay with it. He's accepting
No, no, we
it.
didn't say anything about this. I'm not a brother, sister, father,
What is
nobody,
it called,
cousins,
brother husband?
brother, husband, whatever the fuck it is.
Itsy ways. We'll talk about that later. No, I'm just like, speaking of things that are gonna come out next year, which I feel like a lot of great things are gonna come out next year.
Mm.
Um, 2 days ago, we watched the first episode of Monster season two, Eric and Lyle
Yeah,
Menendez story.
the Menendez story.
One thing I love about like the late '80s, early '90s, they had I don't say I love, but like there was some killings and some serial killers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and when you learn about it, but then when you get to see a story and you're like, whoa, I didn't know this, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have a unique sensibility to it because of the fact that we grew up where in there were like shows like in Living Color, like Mad TV, SNL, and shit like that that were making fun
Right,
of it
skits and stuff,
and
right?
skits. Yeah,
And we
skits and
kind of learned
things.
that
We
way.
learned that way. Like, oh no, they killed their parents. Had no idea what caused it.
Right.
Didn't know anything about any real true trial information. And I always thought it was fascinating about the little things that I did learn over time, but it never got this in depth.
Honestly, the '80s and the early '90s were so congested with violence.
Yes.
Like we as '90 babies were only able to pick what kind of sprung out.
Yeah.
So we knew about the Menendez brothers. That was always something we heard things on, like Fresh Prince of Bel Air. They would make little comments about it,
Right.
and we only dove so deep into it. So
Mm-hmm.
to watch it now,
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy is doing a great job. Again, we only watched the first episode
Right.
of this new season, but like spoiler alert, just to know that Lyle had a toupee, I was like, wait, hold on. So the nigga hair was fake, and then when I go look up pictures, I was like, yeah, that thing was a little
That yeah,
thick up on
it was
top.
sitting on top of his
Yeah.
motherfucking head,
So
wasn't
I
it?
was like, okay, okay. I'm excited to learn more because again, you got O.J. Simpson, you had Charles Manson, you
Yeah.
had the Menendez brothers, you had all these people, all these killings, all this brutality,
Yeah.
and we only picked so much. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good to see a recreation of it,
Yeah.
the story told. I mean, who knows how it's not 100%, of course,
Mm.
because the brothers are already kind of making their little comments, but watch it
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you for you to make there it's entertainment as well. So they're gonna give us a little bit more
Yeah.
on it,
I mean,
but
do you think it's going to? Do you think this is going to fall under the same scrutiny as like the latest? The latest big ones have been the Aaron Hernandez one and the Jeffrey Dahmer one, right? I know that the other one isn't a monster, if I'm not mistaken, but do you think they're going to come under the same scrutiny that like Jeffrey did, wherein they were like, why are you glorifying it and making it into entertainment and
no,
things of that nature?
I don't think so. This might be a little bit
I
different.
don't feel like it's fair in general because this is what documentaries are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't think anybody criticizes it when somebody goes out to like a safari or a jungle or anything of that nature and we watch nature happen. You know,
Yeah.
if a cheetah is running up next to a gazelle and it eats it in front of camera. You can't cut that off. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? There is a level of entertainment value that comes with this type of stuff, but granted, you have to make these things entertaining, or else it's not going to do well,
Right.
and nobody wants to tell the exact retelling because that could feel very disrespectful to the families in a way.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, they're not gonna get the what really happened. You know,
Right.
that light's not gonna get shown on it the way it should.
Yeah, because there are people out there who, genuinely speaking, don't watch the docs like that.
Hmm.
It might capture the information better in a mini series, not unlike the
Yeah.
OJ situation. You know,
I totally respect the families of victims, and they're
of
like,
course,
they don't want to relive it,
right?
but I can see on one hand it helping people or getting those or helping families find those red flags in people.
Mm,
I'm just gonna, just playing devil's advocate.
fair.
But also the story needs to be told for those people who either survived it
Mm,
or are not here to tell it.
yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean, I know it's always under the eye of the serial killer, the eye of the killer,
yeah.
but we got to find out the why of things. Why do we have psychologists go to these prisons and find out
Profilers.
why? Yeah, profiles. Why are they doing what they're doing? What happened? What was in the water in the 70s that make people do this? You know,
Agent Orange.
I get it. I get the families not wanting, they don't want to relive it, but
Hmm.
I mean, unfortunately,
Yeah,
you know, some people, somebody has to capitalize on it,
yeah, you're right.
and it's good to retell these stories for those generations that know nothing about it.
Yeah, it's part of the
Yeah,
history. To be honest, it's if it was a big. The understanding is this was as big as OJ.
yeah,
So then, if I can remember the OJ stuff, I remember.
yeah. I was like 4 or 5 years old when my
Yeah.
mom started cutting out like articles in the newspaper and actually gluing them to like cardboard
Mm-hmm.
posters. She was making a whole collage of it.
Yeah. See,
So that was like a brief
if it has
memory.
that semblance, why wouldn't we talk about it? I mean,
It was right
this
around the
there were
corner.
documentaries before the Jeffrey one. There's going to be documentaries after this one.
Yeah,
So
which they do have. Netflix does have that doc.
yeah. Oh,
So
okay. So
yeah,
then I mean, to a degree, I hope it doesn't come to that, or not to a degree. I hope it doesn't come to that point where it's getting criticized because at this point,
it's always gonna.
true, true. At this point, I'll say this: that is the acting in it so far
It's
has
great.
been top
Yeah,
notch.
those the ones who are playing the brothers are really good. It's
Man,
very
playing. I've
intense.
never heard of these people.
Yeah, they're very intense. The only
Yeah,
person I knew was the therapist because I remember him from Walking Dead
you're good with that.
season 4 when he was playing like the governor's like assistant. But it's very intense, and we only watched the first episode. I was like, no, no, hold on. I'm a
Yeah.
little tired. I don't want this on my brain before I go to sleep. But
Scary ass.
it's great. I heard right before this season dropped that we already know what Monster season 3 is going to be.
Oh, do you?
So Son of Anarchy's Charlie Human,
Okay.
he's actually going to be playing Ed Gein. And for those who don't know, that's the one. That's the serial killer who's
No.
based off of Leatherface from Texas
He's the one
Chainsaw
who made the
Massacre.
furniture and shit and used to
Yeah,
like glue things to. Oh
and Human
no!
Face. Yeah, so he's playing Ed Gein
I'm
in
excited. You
season
told me I was
three.
gonna be excited about that.
Yeah, season 3 will
Crazy.
get that next year.
I'm the problem. I'm the reason why there's scrutiny because
I
I
can
like this stuff.
see. So this is where I can see where Glorify can come into play because
See?
he's so good looking.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, Ed Gein was not, but
No, yeah.
you get these very handsome and attractive people who play these serial killers, and you're
Mm,
like, that's where sometimes it may come into play.
yeah, that makes sense. That's why the what is his name? Evan Peters, right? Was
Yeah,
getting so much
because
slack.
he's very cute.
Makes sense.
So you're having like one of the sexiest guys
Mm,
off of Son of Anarchy play Ed Gein. You're gonna some people are gonna look past that serial killer
yeah.
and be like, oh my god, I know he made furniture out of human remains or faces,
You know he was a grave robber and all that, but
but he can get it, But
yeah,
I'm really excited to see what they do, what Ryan Murphy and team does with season 3.
that's incredible. I'm
Yeah,
interested in that now. Wow. See, I knew it. I asked. I was like, hey, I wonder what their next one's gonna be. And you were like, I know it. I'm not gonna tell you. Good.
yeah,
Good job. I
I'm
like it.
excited.
I like it.
You know what I wanted to talk about? Remember we were making our predictions at the beginning of the year, and this was right around the time Wayne Brady had came out.
Okay.
and he said he was pansexual.
Right.
And I was like, I believe that someone found out he was gay or pansexual, and that he didn't want to get burned by his own teeth, so he told his own,
Yeah.
he told everybody that he's gay before anybody else can
He came
blackmail
out.
him.
Yeah.
I definitely want to like take that back, and after watching his new show, The Family Remix,
Ah.
Wayne Brady Family Remix, I'm like, okay, I was talking before I even got to really know what was really going on.
That's honorable.
He had these feelings, obviously, been going through so much, his grandma slash mom dying,
Yeah.
and he's going to his therapist, and he found out that he may be pansexual. And just to learn about what's going on in his head, it was like me, like
Mm.
myself, like always wondering if people like you, if you decide to tell them your sexuality or tell them about things, like will they still look at you the same?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's me. Like always feeling like, let me try to do better because I want people to come back,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's pertaining to like podcasts.
Mm.
I've said this to you. There's, so many people who say, I don't give a fuck what people think. And I was like, I do kind of feel like I care about what people think
Yeah.
because I hold myself to a certain regard where I'm like, I'm a good enough person where there shouldn't be people who hate me.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's fair.
with Wayne Brady
That's fair.
always like overthinking, it was like that's me. And what was it? He didn't say hero syndrome, but it was the
Main character.
I don't know if it was a main character syndrome, but remember he was auditioning for the Wiz,
Mm-hmm.
or I think it was the Wiz.
Yeah, he did the Wiz.
And he was just feeling like he didn't know if he could do
Imposter
it.
syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
There
I was
you
like,
go.
oh my God, that's so me. I'm like, Wayne, what are you doing? Like, you're the best at Broadway. You're the best at singing. Why are you doubting yourself?
Yeah.
Why are you scared to tell people your truth? And I was like, how can I judge when that's literally me
Mm.
on screen right now?
Yeah.
Scared
That's
about
fair.
how people will perceive me, and will they like me?
Mm-hmm.
So seeing his whole journey and him like opening up with his family, and how he co-parents with his ex-wife
Yeah.
and his baby mama, find out he has another son. It was just like, oh my God, like I take back everything, like I guess negative I said about why I felt like he came out as
That's honorable.
pansexual.
That's
Because
honorable.
I was like, okay, I get it.
You get it now.
I don't get being pansexual because I'm not pansexual, right?
What
But
has
I
the
can see
levity
the
there?
fear, and I thought he was so courageous to come out, and he was very like specific when he wanted to do it, and
Yeah.
it was nice learning about his like core four and his backup dancer, being with his wife or
Mm-hmm.
ex-wife, and how that was,
The
how
way he
everything
built
was.
his safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even feeling nervous about telling people in his circle about his sexuality and about having another baby. It was like he was nervous, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Anytime I feel like I want to tell people things, because you off the bat you feel like they're gonna judge you
Of
because
course.
they don't understand it. They're like,
Right.
like, oh, cool, and then you think maybe they're gonna whisper behind your back about
Mm-hmm.
something they don't understand. So
Right.
it was nice that he got to talk to someone he considered his father, that actor, and
Mm-hmm.
some of his friends and people who've been in prison who can really take it. Some gangsta ass niggas who can
Yeah. He
take
was
it
like,
like,
"Nigga, we love you. Who gives a
yeah.
fuck?"
And I was like, oh my God, I've always loved Wayne Brady. But I
Right.
did take it a little negative when I felt like, why are you coming out as pansexual
Did it
now?
feel as if it was just part of the wave type of situation that's
A
been
little bit.
going
That's why I
around?
said what I said.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my God, I feel like somebody found out he was, so he wants to hurry up and say it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no, this is how I feel, and I feel like I want to be authentic, my 100% authentic self to everyone.
I mean, he's got half a century of his life left,
Yeah.
hopefully. So
So he wants to live it the way he
live the
wants
way
to
he
live
wants to
it, and
live.
I
Exactly.
commend him for it.
Yeah,
I love his family. I love him. Like
absolutely.
he deserves everything good he gets.
I hope he does. I hope he gets it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I commend you on that. That was very vulnerable, and I love that. That was awesome. Uh, it was great to get that family dynamic um out of Wayne and understanding his mentality. It's something, the imposter syndrome is something I've talked to you about on a
Yeah.
number of occasions, not just about yourself, but me having had done creative ventures in way different ways.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Um, I had the same thing, and it's a it's different coming from somebody like me, who's your husband, who like, regardless of anything, I love you, right?
Right.
So
So it's just like you just love me for this,
yeah,
but
it
what
could feel
about
that way.
how do you really feel about my art?
Yeah, exactly that, exactly
Hmm.
that. And even though everything I can say is absolutely true, hearing that type of message from somebody else who is even of a higher stature, if you will,
Hmm.
be like, no, I go through the same shit, and I have this, and this is that, and you go, oh no, you are a normal person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a normal person just doing shit to survive out here, and you want to survive happily. You know what I mean?
I
And
just
comfortably.
I love his positivity because he didn't come from like money or anything.
Yeah.
He went to Florida. We got to see his grandma's house, and all older people for some reason have like a hoarding problem. And he didn't really, it seemed like he had his dad, but he didn't. He was more so raised by his grandma and his
Yes.
dad's mom, and his mom wasn't around. So I was just like, this person who, especially with men who don't tend to have their fathers around, and you see them be great fathers, great people, it's just like, man, like you really worked hard to become
Yeah.
a good person, a good father.
Yeah.
Because you don't have an example of that if they're not around, if a
Right.
parent isn't around.
Yeah, that is true.
So
That is
I
very true.
commend him and any man or any woman who are great parents, regardless of having or not having their parent around.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That could be physically or emotionally speaking too,
Oh yeah,
because you
absolutely.
could see both of those things on Wayne's jacket. You know what I mean? The
Hmm.
both of the missing emotional, physical ventures in that. So I'm glad he's come out of it the way he has and the support he has, and it just goes to show the support that you get does
Hmm.
matter, even if it's a little bit, one subscriber at a time, one listener at a time. The fact that they're giving you their time
It's
matters.
amazing.
That matters 10 times more than the imposter syndrome could ever hit you. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you because I'm like, if I can give all my listeners a hug,
You could, yeah.
audio is YouTube wise, I'm
Yeah.
just like, thank you guys. Like you guys really
Oh,
fuck with me. Like like it feels good.
yeah.
Because sometimes you don't feel like people really, they really don't believe in what you're
Yeah.
doing, because they see the number being so small.
Mm.
But how does our biggest podcasters, how do our biggest stars get to where they are?
Yeah.
There are people out there that believe in them so much that they continue from zero
Hmm.
all the way until millions.
There's been a number of people I've watched over my fucking, I don't know how many years or so on the internet,
Hmm.
where I've been like, they've been at zero, I saw them there, and then I see them later, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
So I take a real appreciation with um, people who are just starting off, or
yeah.
people who haven't acted for a while, directed in a while. They're starting something new because I'm like, man, okay, I can be less harsh on you because I'm in the same space.
Yeah.
Um, Currently or recently, we saw Tim Reed, the dad who played Sister Sister. He directed
Mm.
the Miss Cleo
Hmm.
biopic on Lifetime.
That's right.
I was gonna review this last month, I believe, or a month before,
Yeah.
and I got my dates all wrong. So, like last week, I was able to watch it,
Mm.
and I was excited to watch the Miss Cleo biopic because I saw the documentary on Max.
The one that came out, what, like a year or so ago?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Call Me Miss Cleo.
There it is. Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, there are things I didn't know about Miss Cleo. Again, I'm a small little tot when Miss Cleo came out.
Hmm.
So much stuff going on in the 90s that, again, you pick in. So it's nice for them to come back and show us the real Miss Cleo and her struggles with being named in the lawsuit, and you're being fraudulent with people. And I'm like, hey, she's a call center representative.
I've been one of those before.
Right.
Yeah. You can get looped into
Yeah,
anything. Yeah.
absolutely. I love Tim Reed directing this. I like how he directed it. I loved Lady Rage's, how she portrayed Miss Cleo.
Mm.
I was like, wow, I didn't know you had range in this way.
Mm.
And I really commend people who can do accents because not everybody can do it. And our best actors, some of them cannot
Will
do.
Smith cannot do an
Will
accent
Smith can't
for
do
to
accents.
save that nigga life.
It sounds a mix between an African and a
And him.
and the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Yeah. So when Lady Rage would put on her Jamaican accent,
Yeah.
even though we know that was the same thing Miss Cleo was doing,
Yeah.
I was like, I believe you're Miss
Believable.
Cleo. Yeah,
Hmm.
but she looks like her. I love how Tim really showed us the story behind her taking care of her kids
Yeah.
because I feel like they didn't show that on the documentary.
Yeah. The Max one didn't technically humanize her. It was more
Right.
of a. It more felt like an expose.
Yeah, like, oh, she used to
Unless,
con people and she were doing, and
yeah,
I was like, I want to see the human side.
yeah, it felt very toned. It was an expose, but it was toned down,
Hmm.
and this humanized her in that way. It
Absolutely.
absolutely humanized her. Yeah.
I kind of wish we could saw a little bit more or dived a little bit deeper with her sexuality
Mm.
and as in her later years
Hmm.
and her dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
I wish we
Yeah.
had time to do that,
Yeah.
but I know you only get so much. But I think this was maybe an hour and a half
Yeah.
movie. I wish it was a little longer just so we can get more of her life.
I
Like
could have
we
used
kind
another
of,
20, 30 minutes there.
yeah, we started off in her probably 30s. It looks like if we can get her more 40s, 50s, right before, to the end of her life, that would have
Hmm.
been nice. But I really enjoyed seeing like her mom. I don't feel like they gave that.
They didn't
They
do
they definitely made it seem like she was
estranged, but that was about it.
estranged. Yeah, she was living with other people, like kind of foster esque
Yeah.
on the dock. And I like that Tim portrayed her as someone who knew her mom. She was taking care of her family. That was the main goal.
Yeah.
And she worked the hell out of them calls because it was like, you're getting paid such and such amount. And she was like, okay, well, I'm an actress, so I can turn it on. And exactly what I would do. I know with me, no matter what job I do, I'm gonna give 110%. So if I was doing some kind of psychic job,
Hmm.
I'm gonna put on the accent too, and I'm gonna get my money because I got kids to take care of.
Yeah.
So I really liked how he portrayed Miss Cleo, and shouts out to Tawanda Braxton. She played like one of those customers that was upset about her bill being such and
Yeah.
such.
I love me
I
some
just
Tawanda.
hated that they were like, Miss Cleo, you're the reason why my bill's $500. No, it's not. Whoever she worked for, that company is the reason.
I love that journey because
Hmm.
she, Tawanda in its own. It was interesting to see just that type of talent come out of her, and
Yeah, we haven't really
you
seen
don't get to see
Tawanda
it.
Braxton. So
Yeah.
shouts out to her. Shouts out to Lady Rage.
Lady Rage
Eh,
too.
Shout out to Light Skin on Viv. I always call her Light Skin on Viv, but that's also
Right.
Tim Reed's
Right.
wife.
Right.
She did a great job playing her mom.
Hmm.
And great job Tim Reed for directing this
Yeah.
movie. It was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome stuff.
We heard last week some sad news. Tito Jackson
Yeah.
has died at
Yeah.
the age of 70 from a heart attack.
That's young.
I'm like, damn, Catherine, like your ex husband is gone and two of your kids. I
Hmm.
don't want to ever feel the loss of a child. I don't think it's a feeling that anyone should feel.
Yeah.
What did you think about it when you heard about? Because you love Michael Jackson,
Yeah. I
so
love the Jacksons and I love
yeah.
Michael Jackson. So
Hmm.
it was it hurt. It was a shock. I'm not gonna front. I immediately started going to like the Reddit and stuff, and I just saw clips of him on the guitar flowing through the feed and things, and you start to realize the amount of musicality he brought to the table. I mean, I don't know if the Jacksons would all be the Jacksons if he had really truly played guitar. You know what I
Yeah, it
mean?
started off with
It
him.
started off with him, so it's it's a big loss. It's a big loss, and I gotta say, I'm pretty sure those siblings, the surviving siblings,
Hmm.
are feeling it. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
his sons.
Yeah, his sons. Oh,
You know what? And you
that's rough.
introduced me to his sons, 3T.
Hmm.
Again, because we were tiny tots when they came out in the 90s. So
I had that out. I had that on the cassette.
for any millennials or any Gen X's
Yeah.
who knew 3T in the 90s, you guys
Hmm.
knew why featuring Michael Jackson and what's the
Oh,
other anything? That
yeah.
was my favorite
Anything.
song from 3T.
Yeah.
Um, they lost their mom to a crazy murder,
Oh, fucking hell, dude.
by her boyfriend at the time,
Oh yeah,
and now
yeah.
they don't have their dad. I know, I understand they're older, but
It's
it
still gonna
doesn't.
rock
Yeah,
you.
it's still gonna rock you to not have any of your parents.
Oh yeah, it's gonna rock you.
So just like blessings to the kids
Yeah.
and his mom and his
Everybody.
siblings.
Miss Catherine especially.
Hmm.
As the matriarch of that.
And you know what? Like a crazy fun fact. Tito was like the only Jackson who did not put out his own album until he was the last to put out an album.
Wow.
Right, there was only a couple, probably 5, 6 years ago, he put out his first solo
No
album. He was the only one who
shit.
had not.
You know what?
Even Rebe and Latoya had put out something and he had not.
You're right. You're
Hmm.
right about that. Wow. And I'm glad he did. He didn't
Yeah,
waste the time
yeah,
for the limited time
absolutely.
we did have him for.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
You know what's great
crazy.
though? As a whole, they do have their own star on the Walk of Fame. Besides
Hmm.
the Jacksons.
I mean,
Yeah,
rightfully fucking so.
yeah, absolutely.
Have you heard Heartbreak Hotel? Come on now.
You know what's crazy? They're actually giving Batman star on the Walk of Fame.
Like
He's gonna
like Batman,
like Batman the
the
superhero.
idea of Batman, the concept of
He's the first superhero to get a star on the Walk of Fame,
oh,
on the
I
Hollywood
hate
Walk of Fame.
everything.
That's amazing. He's getting it tomorrow. He, as I'm saying, the creators of Batman and Batman itself.
This is insanity. I would rather the creators of Batman get it.
Well, basically, they're gonna be there.
Okay.
So
They're
it's
gonna be
there.
there, but is it gonna say Batman?
It's gonna say Batman.
That's bullshit.
But think about it, it's my baby though. If
Okay.
my podcast, the ideally though pod got a star, it's the ideal of who created it. I did.
Okay. I'll
So
give you that. I just feel like we have people on the Walk of Fame, actual physical
well
people
they do,
living.
white boys gonna do what the white boys gonna do. And
Batman's
whoever's paying
never.
for it. And you know what, let me tell you something. Yeah, DC, that's what I'm talking about because Marvel could never.
Okay, fucking lax.
Because Marvel could never. You know, my
Relax.
first ever superhero I loved was Batman and
Batman.
Superman.
I
You know, I
know.
like Dean Cain as Superman myself.
Ay, ay, ay.
And I recently just watched the Batman with Robert Patterson
Yes.
because I had to watch the Penguin. It just
Mm-hmm.
came out.
Yeah.
Penguin has broke records on Max.
Mm.
5.3 million views in those first 4 days across all streaming platforms.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
They
Okay.
actually hit number 2 in the actual history of HBO streaming. The
Yeah.
first one was the Detective Night Country. True
Oh no
Detectives Night
shit.
Country.
Night
They
Country.
got 5.7 million views.
Ooh,
So they're right
you know what's
underneath
gonna
them.
beat it? The Last of Us 2.
Maybe.
Last of Us Part 2.
They beat Last of Us though.
It's gonna beat that.
Yeah.
I
So
guarantee you it will.
they haven't broke records since Last of Us, which was last year. So
Yeah.
the Penguin has broke the records.
Shouts out to Max really coming in heavy hitting and trying to like really make some competition for Netflix, eh? Because if you really think about it, the only heavy hitters this last couple of years have been HBO Max,
Yeah,
Max
absolutely.
itself, and Netflix with any of like the docs as of late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shouts out to Colin Farrell playing the Penguin.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Having
yeah,
put
yeah.
that bodysuit on.
Which is insane looking.
I love this because if you know Batman, you know the comics, you know like the old Batmans
Yeah.
when Danny DeVito played the
Yeah.
Penguin. We were meeting him at the height of his like
Yeah,
villain.
he was the Penguin.
Yeah, he was the Penguin.
Yeah.
We're seeing in the show, and no spoilers, but we're seeing the beginning of that. So we're seeing how he is able to get to the rise of the Penguin
Which I
and
think is
his
great.
drug corporation.
Which I think is great because
Yeah.
technically speaking, you said that they did the same thing for the Batman.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
It feels like he's
his
like
origin.
young.
Technically, he's young. He's dealing with stuff rather
Yeah, we're so used to in the movies him already gone through the traumas of his parents dying, and
Yeah.
he's now Wayne. Was it Wayne?
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
Incorporated, and
Yeah.
he has his shit together. With Robert Pattinson already looking young and basically playing a 25, 27-year-old.
Yeah.
It was like,
He's
oh,
not
I'm
as
still dealing with the shit.
he's not as Wayne Enterprises. He's
No,
more
he's like, I guess I got to deal with
young
it, but
adults fucking like dealing with shit type
yeah.
shit, and this feels good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Colin Farrell did say that after each like shoot that he watches things like Toy Story so he can get out of those dark spaces.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Something
Yeah.
beautiful, he says.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not gonna want to do the whole, Joker thing. Oh man. Oof.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm from only the first episode because we only have the first episode.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem crazy dark. We get a little humor in there, but it might
Yes.
get right. Yeah, I'm saying yeah. So I'm like, when you start watching Toy Story 3 episodes in of shooting or what, But I can't wait for how this plays out because it's just going to be a continuous of the new Batman we're supposed to get in 2026.
Yeah.
And I think that Robert Patterson is the only one who actually has they can confirm.
Yeah,
But I think Colin Farrell, if it's supposed to go on,
we'll see.
I'm hoping. You need to get on it because
Yeah.
you haven't watched the Penguin
good.
or
I'll be watching it.
Batman.
Probably while this is premiering. I'll be watching it.
You'll be watching the yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good so far. That first episode, I was like, yes,
Okay.
I love the Batman. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, speaking of something we've watched, and I'm happy as fuck that it came back and started off with a really big bang. Are you gonna mention From at all?
oh my God. Now this is what I want to say because everybody knows I'm a cinephile.
Okay.
And I choose amazing, great things. I've been shouting out From for 2 years straight.
Yeah, we have been screaming it from the like mountaintops. We really have.
Exactly. And they just premiered last week with season 3.
Yes.
That first episode, I was like, y'all didn't leave no crumbs on the fucking production floor.
The only way I can honestly describe it is heart wrenching. Is honestly
Up
heart
in the
wrenching.
ante.
It's I was absolutely shocked. I can't like you normally don't open things like this.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It gave me the feeling I had when we first watched Ned Stark. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Game of
I
Thrones.
was like, "Yo, what is
It's just gonna
happening?
keep getting better and
Wasn't he
better.
the main guy
Hmm.
type shit?" You know, and it's I guess it's gonna keep giving us that because man, when I tell you the amount of like pedal to the metal that episode had just from beginning to end was wild. How do we go on?
It's gonna be great. I love Harold. I can't remember
Paranil?
something like
I want
that.
to say it's Paranil.
Yeah, he's the one we seen like Matrix, Best Man Holiday,
Yeah.
um, Oz. He has so
Romeo
many
and
roles.
Juliet,
Yeah,
all types of shit.
he is probably one of my favorite actors too. He's
Yeah.
becoming one of my favorite actors,
Oh yeah.
and I watched it 2 years ago because of him.
Mm.
He was a lead black actor
Yeah.
and in a thriller
Yeah.
show, and I said, what's this about?
Mm.
So I could, oh my God, I'm so proud of him. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of the show.
Yeah.
If
The
you
show is so good.
It's so good. If you guys haven't watched it yet, it is on MGM
Yeah.
Plus. But I believe if you have Amazon, you can watch the first 2 seasons.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a show that's going to get licensed because it
And it's,
didn't win
oh
a few
come on,
awards or something like that most
I'm not
recently.
sure.
I want to say it did. I'm not making that up. I'm
I'm
gonna
not
fact check
sure.
myself on that. I am gonna
Yeah.
fact check myself on that. I'll come back next episode and say something about it. I will.
Yeah,
I
please,
will.
but I love him so much. I love the cast of From. I love what they're doing right now with it. The
It
monster
it
theme of it.
I don't know if it is a lower budgeted show, but it feels like it has the budget. It gives the feeling of a budget of like a high value multiple season like Big Boy Hunter. Like we're talking Walking Dead. I'm
Hmm.
talking Handmaid's Tale for what it is. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I'm talking about like those real big boys who've stood the test of time. I feel like From has that type of potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the amount of what is
Yeah,
going on. It's oh man, it's genius.
yeah.
Please continue. Never cancel unless it's needed when it has to die.
Yeah, some things
Because
just need to die when they have
I could
to.
watch this thing over and over again. It's that good.
Yeah, you know me. I will. I'm a habitual show watcher, movie watcher,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
watch things multiple times.
Yeah, you were definitely rerun.
So again, you guys, if you haven't, I mean, I don't get paid to say this. I wish I did, but if you guys haven't watched From, catch up so you can watch or
Please.
tend to start to watch season 3.
You're doing yourself an injustice if you are not.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any last words of wisdom before we head out for the weekend?
Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Whoa, I'm sorry.
You said,
Have a great weekend. Excuse me.
all right, you guys, remember we drop our new episodes every Friday on all streaming platforms, and we're on YouTube on Sundays at Ideally Though Pod. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell button,
Share them shits.
and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah.